Welcome back to the Striped Sox Podcast. I am your host who is so sad at watching his baseball team, Justin Levy.
And I'm your other host who his team is getting there, Jonathan Mel.
Getting there, yes.
We're
Let's
getting there.
and we want
Uh,
to follow up quickly on a great thing that we talked about last week, which was Australian Football League. Jonathan, I believe you have something, a
I
prop to
do have
show.
well, I said that I was gonna have it. I do in fact have it because I did say I knew where this was. Whereas the jersey, which was seen in my video, again we can link it. That I do not know where I have that in storage, but I did know where I have this because
Yeah,
this is fun to play with.
there we go. We have the ball though.
Yep. So now that that's out of the way, we can get into why my team is getting there, but not quite there.
Why is
And
that?
that's because, well, a little bit of injuries, but Spencer Torkelson underperforming this year. And he has been sent down to AAA due to inconsistencies at the plate. And really, I just think it's a lot of confidence issues at the plate, and he's kind of said that in the past. So he needs to just get some time down there and kind of reset himself and get some confidence back. And I think he'll be back up probably within a month. That's my guess. Maybe a month and a half at most. But I'm betting that by the All-Star break, he'll be back up, or like right after the All-Star break, they'll pull him back up. But in his place, Justin Henry Malloy, the Tigers' #6 prospect, has been um, called up from the minor leagues to make his MLB debut. Also, the Tigers have DFA'd Buddy Kennedy, who's a third baseman for them. Not super surprising. I love Buddy Kennedy, but he just hasn't been super great. And yeah, so if anybody's unfamiliar with Malloy, he was acquired in Joe Jimenez trade to Atlanta. So it was the first move that Scott Harris made when he became president of baseball ops for the Tigers. So it is nice to see Malloy finally making it to the show. So we wish him the best. And yeah, also it'll be interesting to see if Kerry Carpenter gets moved to the 60-day IL after he hasn't really done much better than like he's just remained on the 10-day IL and it doesn't seem to be getting better. He has a back injury. So if he is moved to the 60, then we can add somebody else to our 40 man. So that would be interesting to watch.
It is important just to have those roster spots available, especially for when your team has been injured. And just kind of what Torkelson, like what's going on really with the 2020 draft class. You've seen Torkelson go down with injury. You've had, or
No,
not
Torkelson got
necessarily
sent
injury.
down.
Yes, thank you. He got sent
Yeah.
down. You've had Andrew Vaughn with the White Sox. He's been really underperforming throughout and not really developing correctly. Reed Detmers for the Angels, number 10 pick just got sent down.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like that's just something going on with that draft class where they're not developing right. Could it be the teams that they're with not having the best development system, or is it more? Do you think it could be end up more that it's just these players aren't particularly good? They're not, and
Um,
their game didn't translate as well as people thought they was going to in the majors.
any of those are really possible. It could be lack of development or bad development within the team. It could be, which might be the case with Vaughn, just because the White Sox aren't great at developing batters. But it also could be the fact that they didn't have a season in 2020 right after they were drafted. So there's a little bit of lag there, not seeing, as good of competition and being able to move up. Spencer Torkelson was moved really quickly through the minors, and I'm sure a lot of other guys were moved really quickly through the minors too to try to make up for that lost time, and that might have really hurt them. Um, your other points of they just could be bad players. It's possible. Anybody that you draft, they might not um they might not develop, and end up being as good of a player as you think they will be. That's kind of the point of a draft. Um, not every #1 pick is going to be Bryce Harper or Babe Ruth or Shohei Ohtani. Um, Yes, I know before people comment, those weren't all first overall picks. Bryce Harper was, but I'm just saying not all of them are going to be these legendary players. You're going to have some guys who just have an okay career. You're going to have some guys who don't even make the majors. And that's happened even with first overall picks. But just because you're selected in the first round doesn't even mean that you make the majors, you know? And like if we're truly selecting guys who are going to have a great career, um, like and we were to redraft in hindsight, like think of Mike Trout. Mike Trout was picked with the 25th pick. Like he's arguably the best player to ever play the game, or at least one of the best, and 23 teams passed on him. Like it's a crapshoot at the end of the day. Like you could do a lot to figure out who's going to have a better chance to succeed, but at the end of the day, you don't know how anybody's going to fully develop. It's a mental game. So some people aren't as strong mentally or end up having other problems. Some guys get injured. Some guys' games just cannot translate past college. So it's a risk that you take, but you try your best to really mitigate that. And yeah.
Fun fact: the White Sox were the pick right before Mike Trout.
They were the pick before the Angels' first pick then, because the Angels picked back to back. Because
Or
the Angels
sorry, yeah,
selected him
the
with the
23rd pick.
second pick of those back to backs. Yeah. I forget who they picked before Trout, but I don't believe he ever made the majors. I could be wrong on that though. Because I think it was ironic that the guy that they picked before Trout, even though they knew they were getting him, didn't make the majors and he was selected ahead. So it's like, oh, even they didn't know. But yeah. Still, point remains the White Sox were the last possible team to select before the Angels.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But there are a lot of teams that miss on generational talents just because they don't know. Mike Piazza was selected in like the 40 something at the round or the 30 something round. There are a lot of Hall of Famers selected in late rounds. And there are, again, a lot of first rounders who don't even make the majors. So a lot of that comes down to development. So I don't think any one thing in particular is why these guys aren't developing, but I would be curious to see if the 2020 class, just because of not having a season, had a little bit more guys not make it or not perform as well.
It is interesting to see just because we've at least recently, like these guys are like these newer guys getting drafted. They're making the majors a lot quicker, especially those that come from college. And these players that we mentioned, these three specifically, they all had college seasons. They've all played multiple years in college. I mean, best example right now, Paul Skeens. Again, he's already dominating the MLB landscape, not just because he's like a young player, but because he's really, really good too. Like the Pirates may have found something with him and Jared Jones in a 1-2 punch. Mitch Keller, I forgot the exact record, or didn't forget. He's one of 5 players that have, I believe, about seven plus strikeouts in the first 5 starts of a season. Something along those lines.
Yeah, they've both been really, really dominant. And that could be because the guys are playing longer in college. Maybe not. I don't think that there's been an increase in college play time, like guys waiting longer, but maybe it's the competition in college is growing closer to the minor league levels.
I mean, you can look at the newest prospects coming up with the MLB. About, if I remember the most recent mock I've seen, about 1 through 10, at least 7 or 8 of them are guys who have played in college. Like not as much ship. Like I know high school is like big with development where these are really young guys and you can try and motivate them to move off their college game and so they can go pro immediately and start developing. But we said this last week too, like the development in college is so crucial for these players actually having success and actually then being able to be in the majors a lot quicker.
Exactly.
So with that kind of, then we're going to move into, we all know the fan favorite one, which is our random poll. We love it. We know all of you love it.
You won last week too.
I did win last week.
So I have to set the tone with whatever gets picked.
Which one are you hoping for the wheel lands on before I spin it?
not infield.
All right, hoping for infield now.
I still have a pretty good infield, but that would not be the one I would want.
All right, we got a pitcher.
Not gonna lie, that's the one I probably have the most for, so I was kind of hoping for that.
Hmm. Now comes the decision. Do I want to go first or do I want to go second? I'm gonna go second. I'm gonna defer to the second half.
Okay. Alan Webster.
Alan Webster. Interesting. Interesting. I'm gonna go with Brad Licht.
Okay. We may
Well,
have to go to war on this, really.
we have to do a award test. I say, considering my player closed out the World Series for the Phillies.
He was selected in the 18th round, pick 15. He has a career total negative 1.3 WAR.
I don't know if I can beat a negative WAR for a guy that won the World Series.
Yeah, that might be quite hard. I really had a deep dig on this one. So,
It's fine. I have a very, very deep pull on my on the very next time it actually becomes an outfielder.
ooh, okay.
Very deep pull. It's a popular player. However, it's not particularly memorized player because of when they played.
Okay. I'm interested now. So yeah, he has 8 career wins, 6 losses, 1 save in 43 games pitched, 134.1 innings.
Brad Lidge, you can see on his fan graphs. He was a first round pick by the Astros out of Notre Dame. He had a career WAR of that's not WAR of 11.5. However, he did have 2 seasons where he was in the negatives.
Okay. What was the grand total?
11.5.
Okay, so still still pretty random and like not notable player, but yeah.
Yeah, it was close, but
It was.
I don't have the WAR.
I pulled a really just crazy guy out. He only had 1.17 service time.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. Started 23 games.
All right, I'll
So
give you it. I'll give you.
yeah, I'm sure that you'll take back the lead next time though.
Well, we hope. Or I guess I hope. I don't know.
I
Maybe I
say
have the
you
fans on
hope.
my side.
I don't necessarily hope. I want to grow my lead.
You don't have a lead.
Oh, right, we're tied. Well, I guess next time if I win, I will start growing a lead then.
Yeah, whenever next time is.
Are you saying that you're going to beat me next time? So I'm going to have to wait to catch back up.
Well, we'll see what happens next week. Depends on how the wheel works.
That is true.
So, do you want to mention that before we get too much into our trash talking, that June
June
2nd
2nd.
is a very important day in baseball history because of one echoing mic from the voice of Mr. Lou Gehrig.
Yep. Yeah, on June 2nd, he gave his speech declaring his retirement from baseball and his diagnosis of ALS. So on June 2nd, we honor him by um talking about ALS and spreading the cause to raise money to help defeat the disease. Um, as some people know, not everybody, ALS is a disease that ends up eating away your muscles and your brain until you can no longer walk, talk, or even breathe. And eventually you just pass away. So it is not a very desirable disease. And as far as I know, there's no cure yet. So on June 2nd, the MLB and a lot of organizations raise money to help find a cure for ALS, otherwise known as Lou Gehrig's disease.
And it is a very notable cause. Obviously, entire baseball world, we stand behind Sarah Langs
Mhm.
because, as she always says, baseball is beautiful.
Yeah. Also notable, Lou Gehrig's number was retired after this, number 4, and it was the first jersey ever retired in a professional sport.
Did not know that.
So when the Yankees retired, it was the first jersey ever retired.
Well, that's important to know. Like you said,
Mhm.
big day in history.
It is a very big day in history.
So
So,
that's just pretty much Lou off the field.
yep.
But
Well, Lou on the field.
yeah, so last week we kind of said like, oh, would be our number one catcher? All time, if we were to start a roster, need to win a ball game. Who's your catcher? Jonathan, I believe you said Adley Rutschman or Pudge.
Yeah, I ended up going with Pudge Rodriguez.
You
It
went with
was
Pudge.
between Adley, Mike Piazza, and Pudge Rodriguez.
You went with Pudge. I went with Johnny Bench.
Yep. Both very, very solid picks.
It is very, very tough call. Very, very good catchers.
Again, I don't think you can go wrong with Hall of Famers.
No, not at all. And so I guess with Lou Gehrig, they'd be moving to who is your. We're gonna just continue on with this list, kind of be our own GM and pick out our fantasy team of players. So if you
Mhm.
want to do this like right, what if we do it where it's actually like fantasy draft where we can't repeat players?
Ooh. I think for the most part, you and I would probably pick different guys, though. I like that. I'm just thinking, even if we didn't make the rule, I don't know how much overlap we'd have.
Well, never know because we're not going to be able to know because of the rule.
Yeah. Well, I think we can both select our guy, but then we can make okay, if that guy's off the table, because like once we get to outfield, one of us is going to want Barry Bonds. I can
Hmm.
almost guarantee. So I think both of us will want that. So then we could be like, okay, I would select him, but because he's gone, whatever. I think we should probably preface that
Yeah,
because,
that seems fair. No,
yeah.
if the I would say then no Barry Bonds and no Mike Schmidt.
Well, no, one of us can still select them. I'm just saying both of us, like whoever doesn't, should probably say that, like, oh yeah, that would be who I would select.
Okay, okay. Now I see what you mean.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it would still be fair to do that, but
Okay.
okay, first base. Do you want to go first on this one?
Uh,
Who are you
I'll
picking?
let you go first.
Okay. For first baseman, there are two guys in very recent memory because we can pick specific seasons, right? Like peak of their career type thing. It's not like
In their
whole career.
prime.
Yeah, in their prime. There are two guys who would be very, very, very good picks at first base. Also, are we doing designated hitter?
Yes.
Okay.
And that could be literally anybody.
Right. We could do Big Sexy as a designated hitter.
Yes, that would be number one pick on the board.
Oh yeah. Okay, so for first base, mm, see, I don't necessarily want to say who my other guy is now that we're doing this fantasy draft thing. But so they're more in recent memory. I will probably go. Yeah, actually, no, I could get around this. I will go Albert Pujols in his prime
Okay. Okay.
for space then.
I
'Cause
do
I
want
can
to
I can
preface in
get around.
fantasy that I ended up beating you this week in our fantasy baseball league.
You beat me. Yeah, I had 3 pitchers go down with injuries.
You know what? It doesn't matter. A win's a win.
I know. You beat me by 2 categories too. So
And extended my lead in the league in the entire league.
to what, like 5 games? Or
Well,
five
I think.
games, which are just categories?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So who would your first baseman be if I pick Albert Pujols?
Well, it would have been Albert Pujols. That would have been mine for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was like, I kind of need to take Albert Pujols.
Well, depending on how I want to build my roster, I will actually then take Lou Gehrig.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. He definitely was one of my finalists. Um, but I think it's kind of hard to say no to prime Albert Pujols. You know, out of everybody available, it's a pretty safe bet.
So then it'd go. I get second base first pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's how that works.
Yep.
So for second base,
Oh, we're doing multiple today.
yeah, we're gonna go run through the whole roster.
Okay, okay. I thought we were doing this each episode. I'm fine with doing it today, though. This makes it okay. Okay. I know
I'm
how
gonna
to
go
just
with
baseman.
I'm gonna go with the my lead. This would be my leadoff hitter actually. Should be Rod Carew.
Okay.
Dude who's just gonna put the ball in play.
Okay. I'm going to go with Lou Whitaker.
Okay, Fozzie.
Sweet Lou.
So let's see.
And
Means
then
you
third
get
base.
shortstop. You get shortstop.
Oh, I was thinking third base next.
Oh, then yeah, just go third base.
Okay. Third base, because I can make this work too. I we're definitely going against my normal strategy here, but if we're talking prime players, I will probably go Miggy.
Interesting.
I know it's an interesting strategy, but this is why I didn't pick Miguel Cabrera as my first baseman, and I picked Pujols because I knew I could bump him over to third. Because technically, his prime seasons when he won the Triple Crown and MVPs were at third base.
That's a fair argument.
Oh,
So then I guess mine's easy. I take Mike Schmidt.
I was gonna say you're
Duh.
going to end with Schmidt, but
Duh.
yeah, like it's easy. But this is also my roster. I get to make it how I want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I love Miggy, as y'all know. So yeah. Okay,
And
shortstop, you get first pick on.
I'll take Cal Ripken.
Fair, very fair. Oh. Also, we aren't going to like compete on who has better war on this, correct?
No, this is just build your
Okay.
roster.
Okay, because I was gonna say if we're doing that, then I might be getting myself in trouble coming up here. Um, by
No,
giving
straight up build your fantasy starting nine without any repeat players.
right. Okay. Okay. I think Ripken would have probably been mine, but okay. Now, do I go defensive at shortstop? Do I go defensive at shortstop?
Well, I mean, I went defense and offense.
Right. Because like I could go with Ozzie Smith, but he wasn't like the best bat. I guess I have good offense elsewhere. I could.
You need a base stealer.
That is true, and Ozzie Smith would do that. I'll go Ozzie Smith. He was a solid enough bat, and his defense was excellent. And he has some speed. So, yeah, I'll go with that.
That leads into so as we go around the diamond, that leads into
Outfield.
field. So who
Are
will
we
be?
going to go left field, center field, right field then?
Yeah, 7, 8, 9.
Okay, that's what I figured, but I wasn't sure if we were just doing all outfield as one. Okay.
That's not my decision until I see who you take.
Oh, you're letting me have the first pick of left field?
All right, I say I
Oh
just have
shoot. Wait,
shortstop.
it is my first pick, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
snake back.
Okay, left field. Bonds was a right fielder, but I can't take him here. So I'll go with Ricky Henderson, who is a left fielder and center fielder.
And so you can pick guys that just played outfield if you really need to, or at some point played that position in their career.
Yeah. Like I say, Barry Bonds, though, is a right fielder. Ricky Henderson is my left fielder.
Then I will take who is my one of my favorite baseball players and was primarily a left fielder, which was Ted Williams.
Yep, that was probably going to be my center fielder.
Right.
If you
He
had
played primarily as a left fielder.
right. I could have flipped him or Ricky. It was just preference there. So it's a very solid pick nonetheless. So now who's going to be your center fielder then?
Well, the easy answer would be Trout. That'd be the
Oh,
easy answer. But I'm gonna go with the Say Hey Kid.
okay. Okay. So I thought honestly that you're going to pick Mantle.
Nope.
So
Billy Mays.
so I will probably end up going Mickey Mantle then.
There's Mickey Mantle. Then right field.
Right field, I'm going to pick Bonds.
Yeah.
Yeah, this yeah.
And I'll go Hank Aaron.
Yeah, that yeah. Either one of these teams is going to win a World Series.
Well, when you have 9 Hall of Famers, probably. Well,
Yeah.
I guess I can't really say Fozzie Whitaker yet because he's not in the Hall of Fame yet.
Yeah.
Everybody else is for sure.
Yeah.
Just now
But
you're
Whitaker will be in or should be in. He's one of the best second basemen in the
especially
game.
when they have Trammell, and if Trammell's in, you need to have Fozzie with them.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves, I guess, now 2 positions, which I luckily get to start with, which is my starting pitcher, and then a
Yep.
closer.
And we have a designated hitter too.
Oh, right, and the DH. I guess my first pick would be a DH.
Yep.
Ooh,
I say this is where you could get real interesting.
I'm not gonna make it interesting. I have the dude who hit 750 plus home runs, and his number 2. I'm gonna go with number 3. Give me the Bambino.
Yeah, I kind of thought that you were going to take that. So I this is going to make it interesting. And also goes against everything I always say in my I feel like my lineup here goes against a lot of what I say
Yeah, you like
normally.
speed and defense and stealing bases, and then you
And
just
I'm
do the hit bombs, and then just
yeah,
Matt Smith.
and Ricky Henderson.
Oh, and Ricky hit home runs.
He did, but he was a speed demon. But I will also be making a video at some point doing like my style of play team. So that'll be a one thing for later. So I don't want to ruin too much of that either. But I'm gonna go with Adam Dunn.
Wow.
Yeah.
There was Mike Trout for the taking, and you choose, and Bryce Harper for the taking, and you take Adam Dunn.
You know, I didn't think about those guys being available still.
I should have
Honestly.
said anything. You already said Adam Dunn is locked in.
Yeah, I did. I didn't because I wasn't thinking about guys still playing is the thing. I was thinking of guys who have finished up. But yeah. Oh, yeah,
You already got
I
locked in.
literally was just thinking of retired players, not current players.
I would have picked Trout, but I'm not passing up the Bambino.
Yeah. If I was thinking right, I would have picked either of those guys. But again, my reasoning is I was thinking guys who had already retired. Um, so
So I
yeah.
guess you get
In my defense.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess then that gives you first pick on starter.
First pick on starter. Do you want to make this just guys who aren't playing anymore?
Could be
Since
anybody.
our teams are that already, we have 2 positions left.
Could be anybody.
Okay. I take it then you're probably gonna pick somebody who's pitching right now.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay.
I'm
I
not gonna tip my hand.
think we'll go Randy Johnson.
And you took my favorite pitcher ever. So there you go.
Oh, there aren't many better than Randy Johnson, especially not as a lefty.
Yeah, arguably the
You're
best.
gonna take.
Nolan Ryan.
See, Nolan Ryan, I didn't take for the reasons I said last episode, which was his control still, which I get that Randy Johnson had control issues too, but
I'll take the most strikeouts of all time is from my pitcher.
and the only pitcher to have over 2,000 walks, and it was almost 3,000.
Yep.
Yeah. At least you're getting an Iron Man though.
And then
You have 2
closer.
Iron Men on your team.
Yeah, and then the closer.
Closer, you get to pick first on this.
I do. And you know who it is already.
I'm pretty sure I know who you're picking already.
Give me Enter Sandman.
Yup. When you started to say enter, I was like, wait, he's not picking Mel. Then you said same man. I was like, oh, okay. So, yeah, Mariano Rivera. I think that'd be everybody's. So I will select. Well, we're at the end of the draft, so I could say who I'm thinking out loud now. And you've already selected this position. So I could do Trevor Hoffman.
That's like my second guy is Hoffman, just because that
And I
change was so good.
probably will end up doing Hoffman.
There you go.
I'm trying to think of guys who I'd pick over Hoffman, and I'm really not getting any.
There you go. Trevor Hoffman.
Trevor Hoffman.
So
there
that
you go.
so as we were our own GMs here, we actually got a question from a fan out there.
Yep.
Saying which current or former GM would we like to have a meal with?
Yeah, or manager.
Or manager, yes.
So, or I think to make it even better, we could do one of both. We could do
All
what
right.
manager and also what GM or president of baseball ops would we like to have dinner with.
So here's my other question. Fictional or non-fictional?
I would say real life. You could toss in your fictional if you want.
I really wanted to talk with Lou Brown about them Cleveland Indians.
That would be an interesting conversation for sure. So I don't blame you for wanting to do that.
All right, so then let's see. I guess manager, real life manager would
you can go 2 different routes with this. You can either go with somebody who really bad for your team and you want to be like, why? Or really bad for any team, or you can go with somebody who's really good, or somebody who has a lot of stories is another option.
I want to go more of learning about the game of baseball. So I would probably go more with like a Bobby Cox or a Thomas or Lasorda, just really try and learn about the game of baseball more.
Yep, that's fair. That's fair.
And then GM wise, I would say like the easy answer I feel like would be Branch Rickey, just because obviously of how important he was to the game of baseball. Billy Bean would be great too. So I guess those are my answers, or one of those two guys between Billy Bean and Branch Rickey.
Okay. Yeah. So Billy Bean would definitely be one of mine. Scott Harris, I would love to talk to. Also, Chime Bloom.
Theo Epstein.
Thank you. I was like, who's the other guy that I'm thinking of here? I could name like all the teams that he's been with. Yes, Theo Epstein would be another really, really fun one to talk with. So those would be my executives. And then for manager, either Jim Leland or Dusty Baker. I feel both of those would be real good conversation.
And I'm sure you're thrilled about Jim Leland's number 3 getting retired.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it 3 or 10?
10.
It was 10. It was 10.
10. I knew what you were talking about, number 10. And it's also the 10th number that the Tigers will be retiring. So
There you go.
I was going to say something about that, and then you beat me to it. Yeah, because
Who's
that
the
was
real
just,
Tigers fan here then?
huh?
Who's the real Tigers fan here then?
You beat me to saying it. In it, but I mean, if you want to come over and join the Tigers
Nope, not
bandwagon,
at
you
all.
can. But you already said that was off your list.
Yep, absolutely not.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Jim Leland. There are a lot of fun stories. Also, ironically, I'm naming the two managers to manage um, Barry Bonds, but that's sheerly coincidental. But I think it would be fun to talk to Leland about his time in Pittsburgh and Miami, or I guess Florida at the time, as they were known. Detroit, of course. You know, he coached some of the best talent that you know this planet's ever seen for baseball. Um, he coached a World Series or coached multiple World Series, won one, I believe. Um, I think he won one with the Florida Marlins, right?
But been
Or I
97 or 2003.
think 2003. I think 97 he was still with. Oh, it might have been 97. I'll look real quick. I'll look real quick.
Just how sad is it that I know exactly when the Florida Marlins win the World Series?
That is quite impressive that you were able to, off the top of your head, that.
No hesitation too, just straight up. When
I
was the
know.
that's my good baseball trivia right there.
97. Yep. So he was with the Pirates from 86 to 96, then went to take the Marlins job 97, 98. Then he was with the Rockies, which I only didn't say them because it's the Rockies and there's nothing really notable about that. Then he retired until 2006 when he took back over the Tigers and led them to two World Series before retiring in 2013. I will have to say though, if I am having dinner with Jim Leland, I'm going to have to politely ask him to smoke beforehand. And then Dusty Baker's been around the game so long and so many stories, so much knowledge. You know, of course, notable tenures in San Francisco with the Giants. His son almost getting run over at home plate, which then they instituted a rule of a minimum age for a bat boy because of that. Of course, this time in Houston. Um, so,
Chicago,
yep, Chicago.
Washington,
I think Washington, yep,
Houston,
yep. So he's just been around the game for so long.
Cincinnati
Yup. And he also played. So I could also ask him about his playing days as well.
with the Dodgers.
Yup. He's with the Braves, the Dodgers, the Giants, and the A's as a player. And then the Giants, the Cubs, the Reds, Nationals, and Astros as a manager. He is a two-time World Series champion. He won in 1981 with the Dodgers.
So he did win one. So he
Yep.
did win one as a player and a coach.
Yep. I thought so.
But there you go. There's my two baseball trivia best knowledges. When did the Marlins win the World Series and what teams did Dusty Baker manage?
Yup. And then he won in 2022 as a manager. So, and both the first time as a player, they his team defeated the Yankees in the World Series, and then the second time he managed the World Series for the win. I believe that they beat the Yankees on the way to winning the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
There you go. Baseball's a circle.
it is a flat circle.
It is a flat circle.
So, yeah. Anyways, you guys leave down below who would you like to have dinner with for a manager or an executive or both, and also who your starting lineup pitcher and closer would be as well in the comments.
And try and not pick anybody we chose but we're gonna make it really challenging now.
You guys can pick who we chose, but I'd be impressed to see who people pick, not including ours. I think
I
that
will
would
say second
be
base could have been Ryan Sandberg. Could put him in.
true.
That's my
There
only
are,
guess.
there are a lot of good players that were left on the board, of course, with only us selecting 18. Or no, not 18.
20.
20.
Or 22. Nope. Yes, 22.
You got 9, 10, 11, 12,
Nope, there's not 12.
or 11. Yeah, 22 between the two of us. Whatever, we can math.
Yes, math.
Anyways, we selected about 22. There are so many more guys that are left to play. Or left in play, I should say. So select that down below. Yeah, if you guys liked, give it a like. Make sure to subscribe and share with your friends. And yeah, catch us here next week for the next episode of the Striped Sox Podcast.